do not change, then we will not manifest the good things that we want to manifest, and those things that we can't even think of, but are yet out there waiting for us. Because there is a whole realm of good that we are not aware of, but it is out there waiting for us. We don't realize it, but it's there waiting for us. But guess what? We'll never get it, we'll never reach it if we do not make those changes, my friends. This past Wednesday in our prayer group, one of the things that we spoke about how difficult it is. And those of you that were there, you remember what I'm talking about. We spoke about how difficult it is to change how we react to situations and how we react to people. And one of the things that we said was it might be helpful for us to rehearse. What does it mean? Well, if you see someone else going through something, if you hear someone else's conversation and it's about something negative or limiting or something that they can't do or don't have, whatever, if you affirm to yourself the truth for them in their situation, you are not only helping them by giving them your positive thoughts and your positive feeling and energy, but you are also rehearsing for the next time you get into a situation. Because sometimes it's difficult for us when we're there, when we're in it. We just can't think of the right words. We just can't, we're just so overwhelmed by whatever the situation is. But if you rehearse, again, with someone else, then that can help you when your time comes around to experience something that on the outer may be negative and limited. So we're talking about changing, my friends, and we're talking about taking steps to change how we confront situations, how we react to situations and people. Charles Fillmore goes on to tell us that spiritual power, mastery, and dominion are attained by the overcomer. He says spiritual power, mastery, and dominion. I'd like you to write this down. I said you have M-A-D. Well, what is M-A-D? That's another way of saying what he just said. And that is you have mastery, authority, and dominion. Mastery, authority, and dominion. Well, what do you mean? What does that mean? If we look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, Scripture tells us, then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. We were created to have dominion. The fish of the sea and the birds of the air and so on, that represents our thoughts and feelings that we are to have dominion and authority over. And then Scripture goes on to say in verse 28, then God, 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them in his own image. What does that mean? Well, those of us that are parents, we look at our own children. Don't they reflect us in some ways? Don't they mirror us in some ways? Somebody nod, yes. Okay, if you don't want to admit it, they do. Well, guess what? We were created in his, if you will, image and likeness. So we have some of him within us. Now again, we use him, God isn't really a him. H-I-M, neither is God a her, H-E-R. God really isn't it, but we use him because we're familiar with that. But we have the attributes and characteristics of God within us. So we were created in his image and likeness. And then in verse 28 it says, then God blessed them being us. And God said to them, God spoke to us, if you will. And he said, he tells us, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over every living thing that moves on the earth. Have dominion. We were created to have dominion, mastery, authority, and dominion over everything in our life, world, and affairs. Doesn't mean that we can control other people necessarily, but what it means is that we can control our own thoughts and feelings, our own reactions to situations and people and things. And as we control that, as we take control, as we determine our own thoughts and feelings and actions and reactions, then guess what? Things on the outer will change based on us having changed and based on what we are expressing. We bring about that which we think about. Somebody write that down. We bring about in our outer life and affairs that which we think about. So if we think lack and limitation, guess what? That's what you're going to bring about in your life, world, and affairs. If you think I don't have and I can't do, then guess what? You're never going to have, you're never going to be able to do. Why? Because you're bringing about that which you are speaking and that which you are feeling and that which is in your being, and that's what your mindset is. That's what you're bringing about, my friends. We are talking about having mastery, authority, and dominion over our life, world, and affairs in a larger sense, in a greater context. No, you can't walk in the office in your job tomorrow morning and demand that they give you a 100% raise, that they double your salary. No, you can't do that. However, you can, using your thoughts and feelings and words, you can effect other changes. And eventually, even a change similar to that. But we'll cover that in another lesson. In our scripture reading for today, we have mastery, authority, and dominion. What does Jesus say? In chapter 10 of Matthew, beginning at verse 16, he said, behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. They said, but beware of men. He is cautioning us. Listen to him. He is cautioning us. Why? Because we have this spiritual understanding. We have these spiritual truths. We are students of this spiritual knowledge. But guess what? There are other people that we come in contact with that are contrary to these teachings and contrary to the truth. And they will try and tell you that, no, you are wrong. They will try and tell you that at your age you cannot do such and such. They will try and tell you, well, your father had this ailment, your mother, your aunt had that ailment, and they died from this and they died. So therefore, you're going to have it too. And guess what? Your children are going to have it, and your grandchildren are going to have it. Why? Because that's what they believe. And they're going to try and tell you these truths. And you're going to say, well, wait a minute, but at Sunday at church, they said so and so and so. They're going to say, no, that's not true. My friends, they are wrong. And we have to realize that. Jesus is telling us, beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils and scourge you in their synagogues. You will be brought before governors and kings for my sake as a testimony to them. But when they deliver you up, do not worry about how or what you should speak. Even though you're presented with all these challenges and all these obstacles, all these people and things that are saying this and that and reflecting such and such, Jesus is telling us, do not worry about how or what you should speak. Why? For it will be given to you in that hour what you should speak. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father who speaks in you. So he is telling us that the Spirit of God